Hello. Okay, I'm just painting today. I'm going to try and talk less. Try and talk less. Today's monochrome portrait is on one of my favorite poets. Is of my favorite one of my favorite poets, Robert Frost. To be honest, I never paid attention to what Robert Frost looked like in all these years until I actually now decided to paint him. And why am I painting him? I'm painting him um, because I'm illustrating. I'm trying to make a bookmark of my favorite quotes, and obviously, Robert Frost has to feature in those, right? Okay, so today the color I've chosen for my monochrome portrait is a mix of yellow ochre and burnt umber. So this is yellow ochre in my palette. Now yellow ochre on its own is quite a light color. When I'm doing monochromes, I usually prefer dark shades that give me, the darkest, where the darkest value is quite dark. So this is my darkest yellow ochre, and I was hoping that maybe I could go for something a little darker. So I mixed into yellow ochre, I mixed a little bit of black and a little bit of burnt umber, and that's given me this shade here, which I'll okay. So it's like a wee bit darker than the original yellow ochre, and I hope it works. Let's see how it looks. I'm expecting that it won't be as stark as the other portraits I've made, and but that doesn't matter. I'm It's all part of the learning, right? Okay, so I always make a puddle of wash consistency of whatever color I'm taking. So in this case, because I had made a nice thick mixture of um, sorry a thick mixture of yellow ochre and black and burnt umber, I decided that to lighten it, I'll just simply add water and keep a little bit of a puddle here. Okay, so with this I'm with this really light version. See how light it can be. This is quite light. Okay, and it's going to dry even lighter. So with this, I give myself a structure of Robert Frost's face, which you can see right here. Okay, and this is where my coat will go. This is where the face will be. So I'm going to kind of draw an outline, as it were. Like, imagine you're drawing this in pencil. What would you do? You'd give yourself some sort of an outline. So he's got a nice prominent jaw, and that jaw is broad, something like this, right? And we're just going to add a few features here and there, very light, so you may not be able to see it very clearly. So I'm just going to fill this in, as it were, because I do not want full white sheet. I don't want the paper white. Okay, so a shock of hair over here, right? Now that's his neck over here, his neck here. Alright, and okay, a few basic details. I'm going to just plan the shoulder, and on this side it's slightly higher. So apologies for those who can't see these lines. This is going to be a dark portion. I'm going to come back and darken this, so don't worry about it. Right now I'm just blocking out the spaces, giving myself a rough idea of how it's going to look. Okay, now while I'm doing this, I usually leave the top part of the head um, like I leave it undone partially because I may need to adjust at a later point. Okay, with a tiny brush now. On this side, his face is going to be darker, right? As you can see in the picture, this is where the shadow is. So you can go in with a darker shade and lighten it with the damp clean brush. So I'm cleaning off my brush and drying. Okay, alright. Now over here is the neck, and this portion under the chin is definitely dark. Right? Okay, alright. Now going on to other parts. So if we want to put in the nose, it's around here. Slightly angular face, so we're going to see the shadow on this side, right? This is where the shadow will form. Same sort of a shadow will also form on the other side, so I'm going to just put that in as well, right? And out here is the eye. Not a very big eye, so remember to keep it that way. Okay, and at this point make sure you are using your small brush. And eyebrow here overlapping a bit with the rest of the eye. See, it's more flat as such. And over here, this is still a very structural, like at a very structural level, just so you can see this portion of the face is darker. He definitely has a very broad forehead. And the big challenge here is that he's a white-haired person, or at least he has a lot of white hair. You want to bring that out. So here there is somewhere here is the ear, right? So the ear goes this way, comes all the way down here. That's a darker part of the face, so it's fine to keep that ear dark. Okay, so even this portion here, just generally everything here, there is a lot of shade. And now the outer part of his hair starts from somewhere here. Yeah. So I'm just giving it a slight outline. We are still going to fill it in with some color. It's not going to be entirely white, but it's going to be strokes. A few strokes of these colors. So here, for example, if you see the hair, it's alright. Sorry about the noise outside. The window is wide open here, and the street below is noisy. Alright. Yep. And his hair ends over here, somewhere here. Okay. Basic structure. Now we can start getting into the details. Alright. Adding in a little more shade at this point. Here's a strand of hair that comes down here. And of course, this part has to blend. So again, I'm darkening this portion. Okay, here too, the hair has got some shadow. Actually, it's mostly shadow. Even here. See, under that strand, there's some shadow. As you can see, this isn't darkening like my other portraits, because the color itself is light. Alright, now to add some really dark details, and that's at this point. Okay, so here the lip, that thin line, that's important. Under the nose is a definite dark shadow. Okay, right here. Now I'll lighten this and put a little bit more detail there. Over here we have a dark portion. See? On this side, and some detail there. It's all going into some dark space. Okay, now I'm going to lighten that same color with water and put in a few things here, for example. Okay, and here, some here. I can use this kind of a shade to also start putting in detail of the creases on the brow. Okay, and now I can add this dark shade that I used for the face also onto this side. Right, and this is a bit tricky. Very light shades doing the rounds over here, and you have to be very gentle with your color. You're hinting at a lot of things. So here I'm hinting at the shape of his, what is going to form into a smile, you know, of the cheek. You're just hinting at it, so it has to be really light. Now the eye, for example, is light-eyed, so I'm going to have to put in a watery mix, which when you pick up will okay, going back in with a few strokes here that I really feel like I need to deepen. Now here I definitely want to darken this. Okay, alright. Using my darkest shade with the thinnest brush, I need to get something here. Alright. Yep. Done. Now okay, some shades here for more detail. Very carefully. This portion does have a little bit of darkness again. Now his lip, it's not dark but it is not light either, so I'm going to just a wee bit give it a shade here, and then you go under the lip. See, there's a very clear under the lip shade, and some line here, some shade here, which you need to show. Okay, yeah. Now this part, okay. Oops. Sorry, I'm not looking at anyone's comments. I'm just at it. Yeah. Okay, that's it. This little portion is darker because of the suit that comes up afterwards. So I'm going to change my brush, go in for a thicker brush, and with this I'm going to clear up all the paint that I made over here, and I'm going to just apply it onto. Okay. Alright, take the same paint. Now this is like a clean up your palette kind of situation, so that's exactly what I'm doing, cleaning up the palette. Now since this is a mixed color mix that I don't want to make any more of, I'm going to try and manage with what I have, and if I have to add a little more shading, I'm going to add it by just using a dark brown on top of this. Okay, so let me just give his shirt some definition here. Okay, that's this portion, that's that, and he has a tie which comes, I'm not going into the detail of the tie. All you need to know is that that's a tie. That's it. Good enough. Okay. I'm just trying to see where else I feel a little more shade will help. Over here. Now this is with a broad brush. I'm just simply going over certain sections and giving it some shape. Alright, on to the brown, yellow ochre. Yeah, there you go. That's, I just dipped in the two colors. This is not made new any more new color. I haven't made any more new color. There is just a wee bit more color. Would have been nice had I made some more, but that's okay. It's okay. Does the job. A little darkness here. And here. Because that contrast is important. So as much as I'm trying not to make any new paint, I really need to do this for the sake of the contrast. Yeah. Okay. Over here a thin line. And that's it. And that is the end of Robert Frost. I will be putting a spatter. So okay, I need to wet my brush a little more. Oops, too much. Okay. Fortunately, it's going to be dry. So, okay. So, what did Robert Frost say? Oh, I don't have enough paint for the for the saying. Okay, that's fine. What he said is very little, and I'm just going to have to say the best way out is always through. That's good advice, right? The best. Okay, this is not aligned properly, but I always write it in pencil so I can align it when I do it in paint. The best way out. The best way out is always through. Is always through. Okay, and that is Robert Frost. Okay, so my number 0 brush, and unfortunately I have to make some more paint, which is with yellow ochre, a bit of burnt umber, and some black. Too dark? A little more yellow ochre. Yeah, good enough. So I need this to be a bit runny, not too thick, because writing out something needs enough liquid in it. Okay, so I'm going to move the best a little bit to this side. Okay, this is how you correct when you're done with your draft. It's okay to correct it on the final version directly without erasing. I like to keep erasing at a minimum wherever possible. In fact, if I could, I would have just written it out directly. But this is exactly what happens even now. The center alignment goes off. So that's why I write it in pencil. Maybe someday I'll reach a point where I can directly do it in paint and get my alignment right as well. It's challenging. Lettering in a brush is, especially connected lettering like this, it is challenging. Alright, there you go. Maybe a little bit of a splatter here just to kind of fill up the space. So Robert Frost's eyes are still a little light. But they are light, so that is not wrong. Now once this dries, I'm going to erase off the pencil markings, but this has been definitely been a light portrait, a light color to do a monochrome portrait in. So here's something I did this morning. This is Bob Ross in crimson. Then we had, keep this up, okay. And then we had yesterday's, this was another live we did not too long ago. 2 days back? Yeah, maybe. That's Maya Angelou. Then this is Nelson Mandela. Not all portraits need to come out to turn out right. Okay, so that's not a very great Nelson Mandela. This is Amelia Earhart. But can you see the colors I've used? They're very nice for monochrome. And you really need to play around with a shade, you know, like I always pull up I always do this just to see what's the range in which I'm going to be working. It's always nice to know this upfront. Okay, so that's Winston Churchill with something like a light red. Yeah, and of course I have Albert Einstein, which I always show. He's a little bit of I mean, his eyes are a little goofed up, but I like this blue. It's a nice blue. I may just do the next one in blue, ultramarine. Yeah. Okay. See you soon with another portrait. Bye.